back, and I played this game for like 2 minutes without recording it, and I don't think anyone actually gives a shit. Can anyone even tell is really the question here. The answer is, can I even tell? That's your answer. I can't even tell. So if I can't tell, you can't tell, no one cares, it's fine. Moving on. One thing I was reading about today is that it's fucking incredible sometimes. The left manages to racialize and radicalize fucking everything. It's like a moving horizon, right? The horizon is always moving away. There's always something that needs to, anything that's normal has to be made abnormal. Anything that's abnormal needs to be made normal. Like I said, the whole control of the narrative shit is just, it's incredible, honestly, how, I don't think they usually put it into words, but they are so tuned into that. Like, there's positive sides to this whole thing. It's just, it's done for bad, evil reasons. It's insidious shit, but it's done well. Like, I can't take that away from them. It's done well. And so what was I saying? So I was saying that I was reading the shit, and they want to add 2 more colors to the rainbow flag. And you know, the rainbow flag is actually visually pleasing. Like, when they chose it, they were looking for something that's just aesthetically pleasing, and they struck gold when they went for the rainbow flag, honestly, because it really does evoke a positive image. I mean, rainbow. Who doesn't like rainbows, right? When you observe one personally, remember that fucking, there's like a meme, a guy just starts crying because he saw a double rainbow, but it's funny because there's a big old grain of truth in that, is that when you see it, you are stricken by how beautiful it is. So these fucking new, even more extreme leftists are trying to add a black and brown stripe at the top of the rainbow, which goes back to what I'm saying, where, you know, there's why just black and brown? You know, why, you know, yellow stripe, I get, there's already yellow stripe, but of course there's no white stripe, right? It goes back to the whole narrative where, you know, do white people even deserve to live? And, you know, clearly the left secretly, they even though, right, they'll say that genocide is only physical killing, right? It's not just physical killing. Purposefully breeding someone out is also a form of genocide. It's accepted by the UN. It's a accepted standard. So they want to add black and brown stripe to a movement that's purely about sexuality, a movement that is somewhat related to other civil rights movements, but not overtly. Like, the LGBTQ has always been good at being like, you know, our whole movement is like other movements, but we will not be hijacked by other movements. We are separate, we are sovereign, we have our own agenda, and that's great. Honestly, that's a good way to do it. Like, that's wise, and their strategic plan is good. So now these even more extreme leftists want to racialize it, and obviously this is going to cause infighting. It's going to cause infighting because it's funny because the people who are in this community of minority sexuality are actually starting to, because they are white, and white people, like, a lot of them are white, let's be honest, a lot of them are white, and because being white is now taboo, being gay is now, like, falling in terms of, in terms of how oppressed you are, the oppression narrative. In the oppression narrative, gay people are falling and falling and falling, and their status is just fading completely. That's why this is appearing, is that they're the next. Ironically, they were first in the oppression narrative, in the modern era anyways, in the post-90s era. They were the first in this narrative, and ironically they will be the first to fall by the same hand, by the same constantly bitch has a hammer. Can't trust a bitch with a hammer. So they're falling. They're actually, because they started as victims, and they did not manage to retain their status as victims. They are going to be the next victims. They are going to be the next victims of being the oppressor. So it's kind of a complicated web to untangle, but it goes back to the whole ironically, it used to be that the main argument for not, the main argument people were cool being why you should not judge gay people is because they were born that way. They can't help it, and now that's being put on their head, because obviously you can't so, if you're white, you can't change your race, right? So this group politics shit, which gays have engaged in, where they've basically equivocated themselves to white, even if they are white, their new community is being gay. And they can't change that by their own story, right? They can't change that. So, what the hell is this area? Okay, this is just a... And it turns out that because everything has become identity politics, which side you're born as determines and this is not there's a lot of people on the right who think this is like somehow you should be divorced from, you should be like some kind of floating metaphysical thing, divorced from your identity, and that's not, there's physical. We are born with physical limits. We are born within a set of boundary conditions, and that's to large part the way you express yourself as an individual, as a person, is those boundary conditions of what you are. So what community you're in, right? So they've made a community that's mostly white, which means they have zero value in the modern left system, regardless of their. So they were basically trying to get out of having zero value by changing their sexuality, which would then give them, it would give them value, right? Because they're on the press side of things, and this whole thing is just showing that's fading. That's going to be gone soon. Soon enough, there will not be any kind of distinction based on sexuality. You're just going to be, it's just going to be your face. This is more maze-like than I remember. It's just going to be your face. That's all that people will see, is they'll see your white face, and that will be that. So America is polarized, and these people 10 years ago, they opened Pandora's box, and it's gonna fucking ruin everything. Honestly, it's gonna ruin fucking everything. This is, people historically have a sense for these things, right? They know which boundaries not to step over, and one of the boundaries is not to allow men to get emasculated, and men have allowed themselves to slip to complete worthlessness, and this is basically what happens when you can't take responsibility, when you are constantly chasing happiness instead of satisfaction, right? A deep satisfaction that you accomplish something. Accomplishing something, you know, life is all about death, right? Whenever you find something out, you are killing your old self, your ignorant self, and it's unpleasant to go. So I mean, the whole story of Adam and Eve is so prophetic. Very to know something is to not. So why do we want to be kids again? Is to not know the things that are unpleasant, the things that upset us. We wish to go back to an earlier, simpler state, right? So it's painful. It's painful to grow, and so when you grow, you basically end up killing a previous state that was actually quite desirable to you because it didn't perturb you. Well, this should be interesting. So to a large part, we are responsible for all these issues. We've let it get out of hand. Don't chase happiness. Well, one of the degenerate things that happens when you chase happiness is, especially if you have, when I was a kid, I found this. I mean, I think a lot of kids with my personality type find this, is the easiest way. You know, as a society, we have like a point tally, right? You win, you get points. You lose points. The part of cooperation is that you don't get as many points, right? For example, friendship. You lose some points because in a friendship, you often have to give something to the other person, right? You often have to give favors, so you're losing some time at the very least. Some time where you're not actually getting any pleasure because you're like, you come over to help them move their stuff. You come over to you comfort them when they're sad, which isn't very pleasant to you unless you get off to someone being emotionally dependent on you, which is a problem in itself. The point is, there's points, right? And we're kind of promoted to cooperate, to consistently get points, to be losers less often. But when I was a kid, obviously you're more short-sighted. So the easiest way to get points, to get happy, is just to steal it from someone else. Is just to crush them as a person, and the very act of dominating them can make you happy. And that's just one example of how the search for happiness can end up actually making you a terrible, selfish individual. So that's interesting. So the point is it shouldn't be about happiness, because happiness can be actually very destructive. Then there's also the whole there's an even easier way to get happy is get high, right? It's if all you want is pleasant things in life, the easiest way to get there is to get fucking just completely coked out or methed out, or you know, what's the problem nowadays of everyone being on heroin, and you know that's, I don't think I have to tell anyone how crap that is with how much crime it causes and all these broken down people. And then, I mean, we've basically legalized heroin. We have doctors just prescribing it, a lot of crooked doctors prescribing it. So, back to the main point. The main point is life shouldn't be about happiness. Happiness can destroy you. Being satisfied will rarely intersect with being happy, and you should be fine with that. It's okay to not constantly be happy. It's okay to rarely be happy. Enjoy other emotions. Sometimes I find it actually kind of fun, just to satisfying, just to sit down and, you know, reflect. And a lot of it doesn't give me much pleasure. A lot of it does. But it tends to just kind of meander about. You don't set. You basically don't set a goal. It's a multi-dimensional problem. You just keep going from. You tend to keep going over valleys and hills, and you enjoy the valleys, and then the hills you just accept for what they are. Anyways, I think I've really railed on that topic enough. I think I'm getting lost. I got the armory key. Whatever, I'll just keep wandering about until... The other thing I've been thinking about, not very related to what I've been talking about right now. It's kind of like a topic. It's kind of like, oh, you know, it's gonna sound offensive as fuck, but whatever. You know, women are much more fun to talk to than... Sorry, much more fun to talk... Women are much more fun to talk about than to talk to. Sort of like dogs or cats. You can't really talk to them, but I could talk about them pretty much all day just because I love animals that much. So, hookup culture. You enjoy someone for a while, and I think the vast majority of the time, even if you get married, what happens is it doesn't work out. I thought I killed her. More often than not, it doesn't work out. It fails. That's normal. Happens all the time. And I get avoiding someone for a few weeks after it fails to let the emotions simmer down a bit. That makes a lot of sense to me, because I try not to be emotional. I try to be adult about things. So I let them simmer down. I assume this is what I'm not unique, you know. I assume this is what other mature people do, is you just let it go for a bit, right? And if you're rational, after a few weeks you reflect on it, you think about it, and almost certainly you will decide that what happened for a reason, and unless they make changes, that's interesting, unless they make really major changes or you make major changes, basically unless you change their mind or they change your mind, which, you know, however it works out, it's not worth pursuing further. It's not worth thinking about any further. But the thing is, you had a positive relationship with that person, right? And you don't necessarily have to be friends, especially in this day and age when you can be pleasant to someone that you used to potentially love at a distance, like an adult, right? You are just pleased that they were once a part of your life, and you've accepted that they moved on, that you've moved on, but you still want to be on friendly terms with them, just because it's the mature thing to do, is just to it also I think, actually I'm missing the main point here. What it actually does is it inoculates you from missing them, because the reason you often miss someone is is due to a lack of interaction. Is your mind, we have a optimism virus within us. We tend to, whenever we look backwards, like, I was talking about how we look at childhood, where think about how much physical abuse there was, how much emotional abuse, how disturbing that was to you, and yet you don't really think about it unless I tell you, right? Unless I push the dialogue that way. So you have an optimism virus. Everyone has it. I have it. Unless you're actively fighting it, actively resisting it, you do have it. So the only way you can inoculate yourself from missing someone is to take them off the pedestal, to make them mundane to yourself. And that's just, like regular mundane interaction with someone, remembering why, they're not attracted to you anymore, completely destroys any desire to retry anything. You will not miss them. You won't care about them anymore. They will be forgotten. They will be not forgotten, but they will stop being relevant. You'll stop thinking about it so much. And what modern society tells you to do is the diametric opposite of what I just told you to do. It says to women that men are predatory. Men are predatory, and the only reason they could possibly ever contact you again is because they've gotten desperate for sex and they have no other options. There's no other way. Like, you cannot explain yourself. This is what they're taught. This is what they think, and that's why they try to completely ignore you and quote unquote move on, while having the same thoughts that I just discussed. Because you've become a legend to them, they will tend to remember the good parts. And if, again, cult of happy, right? Coming back to this point, if I only show you my good parts, I am better than every single person ever, because every person experiences negative things, and if I'm a being of pure positivity, even if in terms of my happy being average, the fact that I don't have any of it, I'm not average, I'm godlike, right? I appear to be far and above anyone, regardless of what their physical characteristics are, what their mental characteristics are. They will be weaker than me, and that memory of me, of that overly positive memory of me, is going to make her expectations completely unrealistic of anyone else that she ever meets. So it's not necessarily me. I'm just saying me because I'm talking about a personal relationship. Insert yourself. I'm sure there's, if you're a good person, chances are there's someone who met you who, after 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 you don't talk to them anymore, their image of you is amazing, right? Their image of you is a lot better than it's a lot better than reality. So, yeah, I don't know. Everyone, I don't want to open a new can of worms, but to me, materialism has, since I was probably about 21, it's really not, it hasn't really answered to my innermost desires, right? Um, you have like these things that you like. The reason you end up wanting material things is to, in concept, you usually have a lack of material things as a child when you want them the most. So children are very focused on items. Um, the reason is because those items often remind them of the people who love them. They basically, it's an object that they can focus on. That is so. One of the things is children are not good at the metaphysical and abstract. We only get a good grip on that as our frontal cortex develops. That's kind of when we most strongly begin to grasp that kind of thing. That's when we start feeling it strongest. So that's why kids need a physical representation of love. It's easier for them to understand it that way, is how I would put it. Is if they can touch it and feel it physically, makes more sense to them that way. So as you grow older and you get a grasp on these things at a more fundamental level, you lose your dependence on material things to feel loved, and then you want to get material things to trade them in a way, by having a family and kids. Trade them in for love, right? You're basically exchanging the things that you used to want, for the things you actually want. Because when you're young and you have a normal family, you are blessed. You're blessed because you have everything you need. And these material things are just reminders that you have them. As you get older, you don't have them anymore. They're gone. And so, to get satisfaction in life, it's all about becoming responsible. But the thing is, it's such a big risk, because so many people are in this cult of happiness. It's fucking scary. It's scary to put yourself out and risk it when your chances of losing are like 50% at the very least, right? About 50% of marriages end in divorces. And how devastating is that? that you'll create children, you'll procreate, you'll have a wife, and then chances are you'll divorce, and you've just all you've done is added misery to, like, I actually understand why people like have this extinction ideology of humans should just go out into the night. The pessimistic ideology of, the way we can solve the huge problem we've caused of pain to ourselves by lying to ourselves, by feeling like we're inadequate, and just stopping ourselves from ever resolving that problem is, let's just willingly die. That's what these people say. Again, that's not the way to do it, but in concept I understand. I understand why someone would feel that way. So, yeah, it'd be nice to live a virtuous life, but a virtuous life is now out of fashion. It's not clear, and this fixation on the material, so that everyone, all these fucking leftists, I don't even know how to describe them. Fucking leftist pigs, honestly. They're all about regression, Whenever I look at their blogs, their personal shit, it's often all it is just materialism as an adult, and it looks so regressive. Like, when people say beta cuck, right, it's a humorous thing to say, but it's so true. It's such a thing. Like, there was this one guy who his wife got him like a Nintendo something, Nintendo Wii, I don't know. So I don't know, whatever she got him, he no, it's not her that got him. He was her wife, and her boyfriend got him a Wii after he got his vasectomy, right? This guy has, it's like triple cocked action, right? It's some kind of fucking post-apocalyptic, postmodern, like fucking RoboCop, apocalyptic future shit, where feminists and trannies just completely took over. So this guy is completely fucked, and cucked, and he's fucking happy about it. He's happy to give up his manhood because he can play his, to me this is catharsis. This guy, like, all this guy does probably is, video games are probably all there is for him in this life. That's the only way to not think about that misery that is his life, the constant avalanche of complete chaos and disappointment that he can't even control his woman. So when you get into that kind of situation, right, your life has failed. You are a failure. You are a reject. Your worth, it went from liberals telling you you're worth nothing to being objectively on an objective scale of manhood. It's a little bit metaphysical, but I think if you're a dude, you understand this stuff. On the scale of points that I was talking about earlier, you are a zero. You are completely nullified. That's it. That's it. You've been nullified. You've been embarrassed, and that's all you've got left is fucking toys, right? Like you're a seven-year-old child. I'm not saying like you can't take pleasure in items. Like, I take a lot of pleasure in many items. I enjoy owning things. I understand why collectors enjoy collecting things. I'm not against that, but when it's your focal point, that's when I don't understand it. When that's what you live for, I don't get it. Yeah, so many of these people, all they talk about is things, not events. What they bought, not events, not ideas. It's a depressing world we live in. But you know, fuck it. You know, I'm fine. Like, despite how, you know, glum this dialogue is. So this is for number 3. Thank you for watching. Really, this stuff brings me great joy, and see you next time.